Cathedral is one of the most famous and most recognizable sites, and it is the epicenter of Christian religion in London. Its awe-inspiring beauty since opening in 1708, and the building is undoubtedly part of the United Kingdom's national identity. The dome is nothing short of breathtaking, and the space resonates grandeur and beauty. St. Paul is the second largest church building in the United Kingdom after Liverpool Cathedral. The cathedral serves not only as a fully functional church that holds daily services, but also as one of London's most popular tourist attractions. It is said that the majority of the visitors spends most of their time taking photos of the beautiful cathedral.
Its dome, framed by the spires of Wren City churches, has dominated the skyline for over 300 years. St. Paul is an Anglican cathedral, the seat of Bishop of London, and the mother church of Diocese of London. Its dedication to Paul, the Apostle, dates back to the original church that was built on the site, founded in AD 604. The present cathedral dates from the late 17th century and that was designed in the English Baroque style by Christopher Wren. Its construction was part of major rebuilding program in the city after the Great Fire of London.
The first church, which is the St. Paul's Cathedral, it was located in Ludgate Hill and it was built in 604 AD. This church was dedicated to Apostle Paul. The wooden building was established by King Ethelred of Kent as home to the Bishop of East Saxon, although it was short-lived, repeatedly damaged, and destructed. In 675 AD, the first St. Paul's Cathedral was burned out under unknown circumstances, only to be rebuilt.
In 604 AD, King Ethelbert dedicated the first Christian cathedral to St. Paul. That cathedral burned, and its replacement was destroyed by Vikings in 962 AD. A third cathedral was destroyed by fire in 1087 and was replaced by a Grand Norman structure that was completed in the 13th century. In the 16th century, the fourth cathedral fell into disrepair and was damaged by fire, and further harm was done during the English Civil Wars of the 17th century. In the 1660s, the English architect Sir Christopher Wren was enlisted to repair the cathedral, but the Great Fire of London intervened, destroying Old St. Paul's Cathedral in 1666.
And these are the architects who leads to design the St. Paul's Cathedral. First, King Ethelbert, a king of Kent, and the one who led to build the St. Paul's Cathedral and dedicated it to Paul the Apostle. Second, Christopher Wren. After the Great Fire of London, Wren designed a new St. Paul's Cathedral featuring a Baroque design. And lastly, Mr. Nicholas Oxford, an English architect who's associated with Sir Christopher Wren in building the St. Paul's Cathedral.
St. Paul's Cathedral has a dimension of 515 feet long and 227 feet wide across the transept. It has two 221-foot high towers and 365-foot high dome that measures 278 feet outer and 225 feet inner, with a diameter of 112 feet outer dome and 102 feet inner dome.
Fun fact, St. Paul's Cathedral was the second largest dome in the world. At 365 feet high, it was the tallest building in London from 1710 to 1963 and remains among the highest in the world. Due to the cathedral's unique design, sound travels remarkably well across the Whispering Gallery, a 30 meters up walkway where you can whisper to a friend from the opposite sides. Christopher Wren is a prolific British architect who was the first to be laid to rest or buried in his own masterpiece, which is interred in 1723. On his script reads Lector si monumentum requiris, which is Latin for "If you seek his monument, look around." In one of the most iconic weddings of the decade, which happened on July 29, 1981, the royal wedding of Prince Charles and Princess Diana took place at the St. Paul's Cathedral with a 3,500 guests. As one of the most famous and recognizable sights of London, the cathedral has appeared in a number of films. Here are some of the famous movies that featured the St. Paul's Cathedral: Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Sherlock Holmes, Thor, The Dark World, and Mission Impossible.
We did choose the St. Paul's Cathedral because it is a perfect example of elliptical dome. Also, it is famous and most recognizable site in London. St. Paul's Cathedral is one of London's most famous landmarks with its iconic dome dominating the skyline for over 300 years. It miraculously survived the Blitz during World War II and witnessed the 20th century many historic events such as the funeral of Winston Churchill and the wedding of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. The principle is also used in the construction of whispering galleries such as in St. Paul's Cathedral in London.
The elliptical domes of St. Paul Cathedral is very important because it supports or used as a foundation of the upper part or top of the church. It also attracts the tourists. Elliptical often beneath a dome in which whispers can be heard loud, clearly in other parts of the gallery. Due to their fixed sides, triangles that form the framework of a dome transfer force more evenly to the sides in other shapes. Geodesic domes are even said to have withstood fires and earthquakes better than rectangle-based structures. Geodesic domes are efficient architectural design. They are stronger, lighter, and quicker to construct. The cathedral is one of the most famous and most recognizable sites of London. Its dome, framed by the spires of French city churches, it has dominated the skyline for over 200 years. At 265 feet high, it was the most tallest building in London from 1710 to 1963. The dome remains among the highest in the world.
Hello everyone! So this is our conclusion and realization in this video presentation. To summarize everything up, this video presentation shows the history behind St. Paul Cathedral, that it was built 4 times because it was destroyed by a fire from the Vikings and from another fire. It was tragic, but it was kind of why the structure is famous for, because of the story behind it. It had gone through different generations and it still stands up to this day. The other thing that St. Paul Cathedral is known for is the Whispering Gallery, that has this cool feature of the sound waves traveling far more across the walkway, and it's because of the shape of the elliptical dome. That is why it leaves us an important role in the whole design of this building. While we are doing this video presentation, we realize that conic section is so important in our life. Conic section is everywhere, and it is surrounding us. We just don't notice how important they are. Conics can be found in architectural designs, in our body, the things we use, and they can also be found outside of Earth. I mean, how cool of a shape is that? Structures like bridges and buildings uses conic because of their visual appeal, and it allows the architects to use lesser materials. For example, the Golden Gate Bridge uses cable that forms parabola because it is beautiful visually, therefore attracts tourists, and it has economic advantages because it uses lesser materials. In the field of science, it can also be seen in astronomy, where elliptical orbits of the planets and the satellite dishes, and so much more. Conics helped us from the very beginning, and I can't imagine a world where conic section doesn't exist.